Okay, we're going to move on to the lesson now that we're done with today's date. This is solving equations with fractions. I've got my special stars up here because I'm about to write one very important thing that you need to remember whenever you see fractions in an equation that you've got to solve. An easy step to help you with that so that you don't have to go into adding and subtracting fractions is to eliminate the fractions. You want to manipulate the equation to turn it into an equation with integers, which is much easier to add and subtract. So again, our goal with solving with fractions is to eliminate the denominators. Then solve. Okay, so let's look at some fractions here. Let's say you had 2/3. What can you multiply to that fraction to make your result be an integer or a whole number? I'll wait. Did I hear 3? That's it. If you multiply this fraction by 3, if y'all remember, this 3 will be multiplied to the 2, or you could switch that 3 into, this can be written, this can be, this is 3 times 2/3, or it could be written as 2 times 3/3. And if you notice, that 3/3 is 1, so you would get 2. You can also write that as 6/3. And 6/3 simplifies to 2. A couple of ways to show you with that. I am going to favor this part right here a lot, and I'll show you that again. Let's try another fraction. Let's say we've got 3/4. What number can you multiply this to make it a whole number or integer? Think of a number that you could put in the numerator above that 4, that when you divide it by 4 you get that whole number. So in this case, of course, you can multiply by the 4, and think about 4 divided by 4 is 1, so all you're left with is the 3. Now, is 4 the only number that you can multiply to this? No, because 4 divided by 4 is 1. What's the next? 8 divided by 4 is 2. Let's try that. Let's say we've got 3/4, and we multiply that by 8. Well, like I said, 8 divided by 4, I'm going to extend this over here, is 2, and 2 times 3 is 6. You don't believe that's right? Oh, well, you might need to see it, right? Here we go. Well, 8 times, if we can do it this way, or we can do it this. 8 times 3 is 24, and 24 divided by 4 is 6. You see how that works? I like this way, and you're going to see whenever we solve some examples that you're going to like this way a lot better. But the key to it so far, you see, is that you can multiply by that denominator, and you're going to get an integer or a whole number, or just as long as you're multiplying by something that you can divide, that divider, the denominator will divide into, you will also get a whole number or integer. Alright, y'all ready for a couple practices? Let's start with the equation. This is example 1. 3x plus 3/2 equals 1/2 x minus 7/2. Alright, so again, this equation, if you went to solve it with doing the addition and subtraction and all that stuff, actually you might not be that bad, because in this case all the denominators are the same. But that's a lot of extra numbers to write. So I am going to multiply this whole equation by 2. I'm just doubling everything. It's not going to change the fact that this equation is still going to remain equal. Okay? So whenever I multiply everything by 2, that means that each term, 2 times 3x, it's like you're distributing it. 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times 3 over 2, remember the 2 divided by 2 is 1, so you're just left with the 3. Right here, 2 times 1/2, again 2 divided by 2 is 1, so you're just left with that 1. I'm going to write that one actually. And then here, the 7 over 2, I'm actually going to write this over here, 2 times 7 over 2. Well, 2 divided by 2 is 1, so you're left with that 7. Now, don't forget to pay attention to that. That's a minus. So that means this answer is actually a -7. Alright, so y'all remember how these look. This should be pretty easy now. So all these are integers, so you shouldn't have an issue solving. I want the variable on the left, constant on the right. So I'm going to subtract the 3 on both sides. I have 6x equaling, I'm going to change that to just an x. It's just 1x. -7 minus 3, they're both negative, so I'm going to stay in the negative and add them. Then I'm going to eliminate this x here. I have 6 x's, taking away 1, I'm going to be left with 5 x's. I don't have any more over here, and -10. Divide both sides by 5. Notice this is positive, this one's negative, so my answer is going to be negative, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. There's a solution. Alright, any questions? Any questions? Huh? That's a bad joke, I'm sorry. Alright, let's go to the second example. Example 2. Can y'all believe this is so easy now? 1/2 x equals 3 over 4x minus 4. Oh, this is a little bit different. You notice these denominators are different. So how in the world am I going to pick a number that I'm going to multiply to both of these fractions, and both of these fractions are going to change to whole numbers or integers? Well, I can't use 2 because that's too small. It needs to be at least the value of the highest denominator, so that 4. I can use 4, but I've got to check this one to see if 4 is divisible by 2. And 4 is divisible by 2. So 4 will be the number that we use. It doesn't work. Don't worry about that one. That's not what we're looking at. We're looking at the denominators only. Alright, so let's start with this one. So I'm going to switch that 4 and that 1. 4, I'm going to just kind of write this out to the side. If I switch this, I'll have 1 times 4 over 2. Well, 4 over 2 equals, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I have 1 times 2, which equals 2. So this is kind of what my head is thinking about whenever I'm talking about this. I'm flipping that 4 and 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. The 2 times the 1 is 2. So I got 2x here. On this one, I've got the 3. When I flip that 3 and that 4, I've got 4 over 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So I'm just left with a 3. And then 4 times the -4 is the -16. Look at that, guys. Look at that. It's just an integer equation. You could do this. Variable on the left, constant on the right. I don't have a constant over here, so I just got to take away this variable over here. I've got 2x, I'm taking away 3, so I'm taking away more than what I have. So it's going to be negative. 3 minus 2 is 1, so it's just, I'm going to have negative 1x. And then on the other side, I've got -16. I'm going to divide both sides by -1. Now you notice this is a -1 and I'm multiplying to something to get a negative. that one has to be a positive. And you notice over here, a negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive. 16. That's it. Can y'all believe that? It's awesome. All right, y'all ready to practice? Let's go ahead and get these 3. I've already got them written out for you. So. I'll give you some time to write these down. This will make the video a little bit quicker, so hopefully it won't crash on me. I'll read them out to you. We've got number 1, negative 2x plus 1/3 equals 5 over 2x minus 25 over 6. Now looking at these denominators, which one's the largest? The 6. So this 6 is divisible by 3 and the 6 is divisible by 2. So my multiplier is going to be 6. For this one right here, number 2, 9 over 5x plus 3 over 2x equals 33/10. Again, these are all different. I'm looking at the 10 first. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So 10 is going to be my multiplier for this. Number 3, negative 3 over 2x plus 1/3 equals 17 over 6 minus 1/4 x. Well, 6 is my largest, so I'm looking. 6 divided by 2 is 3. That's good. 6 divided by 3 is 2. That's good. 6 divided by 4 is not good, so I cannot use 6. So I'm going to multiply 6 by 2, and I get 12. So that's the number I'm going to try next. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So 12 is the number that I'm going to multiply for number 3. Practice these problems. See how they turn out. The next video is going to reveal the answers. And of course have these worked out. If you want to see if you got your answers correct before watching the video, just send me an email and I'll let you know. Until then, y'all have a great night. And I'm sorry these are taking longer. But the key to anything, anytime we've got to adapt to something new, anytime that we have to adapt to something new, you just got to remember not to get up, not to give up, not to give up, and to keep trying. And as long as we all keep trying, don't give up, we'll be okay. All right, I'll see you again soon. Bye.